So it was really a family meal in those days. Mum used to get it there with see us with its glassy holes for eyes looking at us out of a big dish.
In our family, we try to eat together in the evening. That's our ritual. We might have television on and then discuss that, what's going on in school.
Sit down.
And we sit on the floor and eat it.
Floor.
So we'll put a mat to cover the carpet and we eat on the floor.
Yeah.
And so why do we eat on the floor?
When you go to India.
When we go to India, what happens?
We eat on the floor.
We eat on the floor.
We've always had to sit at the table to eat. If you get up from the table, you've finished your food and it's gone. You don't leave. There's no phones. I mean, there weren't any phones then, but like even now, I'll get
Our kitchen is redesigned so that we can actually have family meals, so that we can have, when we have people over or we have friends over, a family, we kind of congregate really in the kitchen rather than here in the front room.
It's more comfortable and practical to sit at a table than eat on your knee.
We do set the table and we do that between us, and there's an encouragement to do that between us. We the girls have a prayer that they like to say when we're all sat down as well.
Thank you, God, for this food which you gave to do us good. Help us to remember you all day long in all we do. Amen.
Amen.
You normally like just a little moment of like kind of just pause of quiet and then she'll say amen. And it's quite special, that really.
I'm hardly actually ever here. I'm usually always at my boyfriend's, and he's a bit like me, where he's a bit anxious and everything. So we usually just sit in his bedroom and we eat and do everything there in his room, and we'll probably put like a documentary on, and then he brings some plates up, and then we just sort of dish off our food out, and then he sits on the end of the bed away from me, and then I'm just watching telly and he's just watching it, and then eventually he finishes because he just won't eat it, wolfs it down. I don't even think he chews, and then he might sit back, and then I'm still like.
If I'm having bacon and egg, I'll have it on a tray, on my knee, and then put it down and go back to work.
She's a marvellous cook. Never. If I go into the kitchen, it's because I'm hungry. And if I'm hungry, the only thing I can think of is beans on toast or egg on toast, whereas Elizabeth obviously has it in mind from early in the day what we're going to eat, and it appears miraculously. My job is to wash up afterwards.
It's all shared. It's not like you do that, you do this, you do that. It's what a family should do. They should share roles, and it's good for things like Natasha and Nathan when they were growing up that they shared all this, because they learn. They learn how to cook, they learn how to wash up, they learn about hygiene and things like that. It's all implementing that type of strategy.
I won't really ever cook for everyone. I'll just eat and then sometimes wash up, but someone else will always cook, one of my housemates.
I never usually have food in. It's tins of stuff that's probably been sat there for quite a while.
Chicken
Alaska,
is it?
Alaska.
Chicken Alaska.
There's elements of my dinner that are a la ping, but not a full like microwave meal in one of these plastic tubs.
My daughter taught me to cook bacon in the microwave. Saves an awful lot of washing up.
Whatever I can do to make it more convenient, less of a thought process and less of a time constraint, the better, which is why McDonald's is the best meal ever.
It's a bit of a drive to the nearest Nando's actually, so sometimes I recreate it at home.
We've got the corner shop, which has quite good just like minute meals, which are my kind of style. Like for instance, when I've got football on a Tuesday night and go to the pub afterwards, I've missed the meal that my housemates have made, so I'll just go and get a pot noodle, usually a Bombay Bad Boy.
And you do a superb mixed fruit
mixed
curry.
fruit curry, yes.
And then I make the garlic bread out of breakfast muffins, slice them in half, but use garlic butter with that. You know, cheapy Nando's, do it at home.
They're not as clammy. If the next door neighbour was poorly, we would go in and out. We bring our watches, we do our watches, we do our ironing, and we take them back. And if they wanted any messages, then we could do it. And they were always coming in and always willing to help you. Now today, they're more clammy. They seem as if they want to be on the road.
We kind of all know most of the neighbours 4 or 5 doors either way and across the road.
It's very important to have a good relationship with your neighbours, get on well with them.
1, 2, 3, 4 people were here before we were, so they've been here longer than 38 years. And there's been very little change. No, 5.
We'll generally say hi to everyone if you see them in the street, if you know they're your neighbours, but never much more than that.
I'm going out my door and one's coming in. We'll say hello, goodbye, and that's it. That's the general conversation.
Don't say too much to people on the street. It's people just get out of the car if they've got a car and just straight in the house. There's not that sort of sitting in the gardens, getting to know each other.
I don't think there's a social side to the community, but they're there if you need them, which is lovely.
It's not like that stereotypical thing, like over at garden fence having a chat and all that.
No, but I have had that, and I do like that as well. I've had that as well.
I don't know why. I'm very polite to them, they're polite to me, but we don't associate outside of that.
Quite a quiet street, really.
Across the street, there's fly tipping.
there's drug dealing, it's just like a little ginnel, but for some reason it just breeds bad stuff.
Some students on this side, and there's a family, young family on this side, and then there's an old guy across the road who we often see watching Babe Station through his window because he never closes his curtains.
Yeah, when Liz goes, oh, I could see you dancing the other day, I'm like, shh, not anymore.
In the summer, quite often someone will be out in their garden weeding or whatever, and then someone else comes over and has a chat, and it develops into what we sort of jokingly call a street conference.
There's a couple of them who I'll have quite a good laugh with, because I'll be out in the garden and there's a guy across the road and a guy a couple of doors down, and both of them are like, you're putting us to shame. And next door, God, you could time it. If I go out there and cut that grass, she'll be out there 5 minutes later, won't she?
I think our main responsibility of neighbours is taking in Amazon deliveries.
When we weren't in, a parcel got delivered next door and I just went straight after work, so obviously in my uniform, and they were just really confused as to why the postman was wanting his parcel back.
One of the neighbours wanted to lend some money the other morning because a child had a school play, a school trip, and I just didn't have any change on him, so I just gave him a £5 note.
I go out of my way to actually also help them if they need help. You know, if somebody died, I make sure I go to the funeral. If something happens to us, I invite them.
Where we live here, there's always somebody within kind of 5 minutes. You know, we have good friends that live right up at the top of the street, and so she's my emergency egg lady.
Guaranteed, Sunday morning, there'll be a knock on the door. Can I have a tray of eggs? Because I'm cooking bacon and eggs and I haven't got any eggs.
It is actually quite friendly down this street that we live on, but Michael next door is lovely, so he doesn't come round for tea, but I take him things round. So the habit has become, I make jam sometimes, so I'll take him some jam at Christmas, take him a little present, some cakes and stuff, because he is on his own.
There was one day that I didn't have any sanitary items, which could have been a real disaster. We'll have that conversation later. I have talked to you about it.
We can't all rely on ourselves sometimes. You know, when it snows, Richard's 90 odd now, I'll go out, clear his path for him, sweep it, put a bit of grit down, just so that he can get out of the house. It's got to be done. And I don't see it as look what I'm doing. Hey! No, it's just something I go and do because that's what we should do.
I met her out in the alley. It was a really foggy night, and she came down, and we both got our little torches on our mobile phones and met in the middle. And she'd put some things for me in a little bag, a little goodie bag. It was so cute with a little bow on and everything. And she'd made me a cake in a mug, and she was just like, I thought you might need this. And it was just the most beautiful thing.
When they go away on a holiday, they tell us, keep an eye on us, you know, and we do the same.
We still have a little bit of that safety here, I think, because there's people like Liz who are curtain twitchers who are watching all the time. You know nothing's going to happen. But it's not in a malicious way, like what's everybody up to. He's just surveying the street he's lived on for nearly 60 years.
I think we're all doing this thing where we're just in our own little bubbles now, especially because we live quite in the city centre, and the city's terrible for people like making any sort of effort towards other people. You just don't see it.
That's what we've got to get back to, is get off the phone, sit down and go and talk to your neighbour. Go and help your neighbour.
I know this sounds, and maybe it's not the reason, but I have seen it fragment round here slowly but surely over this time. And whether it is because of the gentrification of the local pub or whether it's because of the buy-to-let, culture that we're in, it's changed So those friendly faces, because the turnover's quite quick, so, you know, people will be in a house for 6 months, then they'll leave. So like down this road now, I probably only know a handful of people because it changes and people keep themselves to themselves.
To go out. Yeah. Out to the pub?
Yeah.
Where else? I know what you sometimes do on a Friday. Dancing.
I suppose I do enjoy watching television and knitting. So yes. But I suppose in any one week, I probably don't have more than 2 evenings when I would do that.
I can be sat here, but I can be sat there, Chris can be sat there, and then we can have someone else sat, me and my mate Andrew sat in that corner, all with an Xbox and a TV, and we all just sit there, and you'll see us shouting from, I'll take him out, I'll kill him.
I like bingo. It's a bit of fun. I've been to the Apollo bingo, but it's a bit further to walk. It's on my doorstep. It's a cheap night. They have raffle prizes, and it's a bit of a laugh.
We'll have a meal. I'll cook one, he'll cook the other. And we'll have a couple of beers to loosen our mouths, should we say?
I don't know what things I can mention and what things I can't. You know.
I've had the tension there where it's waiting for one number and I can feel my blood pressure going up and I'm thinking, oh, I actually won £197 in January and I couldn't believe it because all the numbers came out after each other.
At the end of the evening, when we've been together, we'll both be laughing, both be smiling. The whole world will seem a better place.
I do reading. I'm not a television watcher, apart from news and current affairs.
Do you want to watch Batman?
Batman!
And when it comes to 5-0, they go 5-0, everybody shouts 5-0. I don't know why that is, but never mind.
If I am stuck in, I'll have my music playing, because I like my music. I'll have a good old sing song. I like to sing a lot. I don't know whether my neighbours will like me singing, but yeah, I sing quite a lot.
I do my ironing upstairs, there's a radio there, it's on maybe, and the one here, and the speakers in the kitchen, so there's music in the house all the time.
And if you're feeling low, if you're feeling down, and you play music, it will brighten you up.
We are family forevermore, and I hope you're safe behind your door.
Sri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Sri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya.
Neighbours.
Come on, cheeky. Come on, out. Are you going to come out?
Is there any stories about you and your neighbours you've
like
got?
turtles.
What's that got to do with your neighbours?
Don't know. Come on. That's it. You're coming out. Come on.
I sometimes eat porridge. Are we still on food?
Bit of hanky panky sometimes.
Give over.
Come on then. That's it. Come on. That's it. You're coming out. Come on.
You have to bring everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, see? Aren't you clever? Aren't you clever? I'm going to teach him tricks and go on British Got Talent.
What are we talking about again?
Do we see any of this before it goes public?
No.
No?